Today we're going to show you how to make our famous potato and eggplant curry. It's gluten-free, plant-based deliciousness. These are the ingredients you'll require. You may wish to pause the screen now so you can write it down or take a screenshot. Roughly chop your garlic and ginger and pop in the mortar and pestle. Give it a good old bash until it's like a thick paste. Peel your potatoes, cut them in half and then into segments like thick cut chips. You can use any potato here, but preferably a waxy potato that holds its shape. We've chosen Desiree potatoes for this recipe. Then you want to do the same with your eggplant, cut in half or thirds, and then you want to chop into thick segments once again. Take your red onions, peel them top and tail, and then slice. Doesn't have to be super fine, just a rough slice. With your tomatoes, you just want to halve them and then chop them fairly roughly. They'll break down once they're in the pot. As we've all learned by now from Jamie Oliver, there's a lot of flavour in the stalks of the coriander, so keep that. Chop it all roughly together. In a heavy based pan on a high heat, you want to put about 6 tablespoons of oil. You can choose whatever oil you'd like to use. We've gone with sunflower in this recipe. When the oil is fairly hot, you want to add in your potato segments. Be careful of the hot oil splattering. Just give it a good stir and a pinch of salt. That will help to flavour and break down the potatoes. Pop the lid on. When they've browned slightly, give them a good stir. Once they are brown, remove them and pop the eggplant in and do the same thing. You'll notice in this recipe that we keep the lid on once we've given everything a good stir. That's just to maintain the temperature, and also it helps to cook the food faster because you're keeping that heat up. Once the eggplant's nicely caramelised, remove that from the heat and put aside. You may at this stage need to put some more oil in the pan. Just see how you go. We've added some more here, and in goes 2 dried chilies, 1 bay leaf and a teaspoon of cumin seeds. You want to let that brown off, and it will also help infuse the oil and give it a really nice fragrant smell and flavour. In go the onions. You want those to get nice and caramelised. In goes the ginger and garlic and another good stir. At this stage, we've just added probably half a teaspoon of asafoetida. If you're not sure what asafoetida is, it's a resinous gum extracted from a species of giant fennel. It comes in a dried powder form and has garlicky, oniony overtones that make your curries taste really delicious. Now that that's all caramelised, we go in with the chopped tomatoes. Lid back on to maintain the heat. Once the tomatoes are starting to break down, we add our spices. We have half a heaped teaspoon of turmeric, 1 heaped teaspoon of ground coriander, 1 heaped teaspoon of ground cumin, and half a heaped teaspoon of paprika. Now you want to give it a good stir. Make sure that nothing sticks to the bottom of the pan. And if you need to, here you might want to add a couple of tablespoons of water just to thin out that masala mix. Lid on again for a few minutes. Now you want to add 2.5 heaped teaspoons of salt. This is obviously to your taste. Some may like more, some may like less. We're a pretty salty family here, so we like our salt. Give it a good stir, pop the lid back on, and you can see it's bubbling away nicely. We just want to make sure that it's not sticking to the bottom of the pan. Then we go in with our fried potatoes first, give it a good mix, and then we'll add in the eggplants. You just want to let the eggplants sit on top because they're quite delicate. You don't want them to turn to mush, so we just pop that on the top. We'll add a cup of warm water, not cold water, because we don't want to bring the heat right down again and then have to bring it up to temperature. Here you might want to check the state of your potatoes. Are they cooked enough? We've just cut one in half so that we can see whether it needs a bit longer, and it does. Some more water's going in. Now we are adding a heaped teaspoon of amchur powder, which is dried mango powder. Also a heaped teaspoon of garam masala. Amchur powder is a fruity spice powder made from unripe green mangoes. It just gives a very subtle citrusy flavour. At this stage, you'll probably just need about another 3 minutes just to let the potatoes fully soften. Don't stir too rapidly because you don't want to break everything down. And it's time to serve.
Please enjoy my recipe.